The film begins with a woman named Jamie dating a man named Adam. Over a romantic dinner, Jamie expresses her desire to become a professional kickboxer. She wants to make a living by beating people. After the date, the two kissed and parted ways. When Jamie got home, she talked to a friend on the phone while relaxing in the bathtub. While she is distracted, a masked man breaks into her home and kidnaps her. In the following scenes, Jamie regains consciousness and finds himself in the unknown, an empty room with only a surveillance camera on the ceiling. Filled with fear, she knocked on doors asking for help. The door opened to reveal a dark corridor. She nervously walked forward and soon met another woman named Sabrina, dressed exactly like Jamie. Jamie can't trust her and forbids her to come near, but Sabrina says so. She is also a victim. As the pair explore the area, the door closes from behind and traps them. They are in a circular room. Suddenly, Sabrina says, "I'm sorry," and attacks Jamie. The latter had no idea what was going on, but still defended themselves. A fierce battle ensued between the two. Jamie excitedly asked her why she did this. Sabrina replies, "I have to." Eventually, Sabrina overpowers Jamie and delivers several fatal blows, resulting in her death. She screams in fear and asks how many more lives she will take. Then the scene shows a couple, Joseph and Elizabeth, who are revealed to be behind everything this. They kidnapped several women and started a desperate fight among them. They record all the fights in the fight room and broadcast them live to the audience. They're wealthy clients. They appear to be doing this for financial gain, taking advantage of the wealthy in exchange for their entertainment. Back in prison, Sabrina is awakened by the desperate screams of other women. Soon after, Joseph announced the results of the previous games and selected the next game competitors. It turns out that as long as the warriors survive the battle, the warriors' families can survive. The game continues, and we see two other women, Dee and Phoebe, making their way there, battle in the amphitheater. When they went there, Dee revealed they threatened to harm her sister. Phoebe replies that her mother's life is threatened. Soon the battle begins, and Phoebe immediately gains the upper hand. She launches a brutal attack on Dee, resulting in his quick death. Meanwhile, Cody, an inmate in another cell, tries to strike up a conversation with Sabrina. She introduces herself and reveals that she witnessed her father's birth as a child abuse of her mother. The incident still traumatizes her. Soon after, Kurtz, the facility's security manager, enters Sabrina's cell to provide care. She brought some food. He congratulated her on her latest victory, which allowed her daughter to survive another day. In response, Sabrina claims she doesn't have a daughter and doesn't care. They do this to little girls. Unfortunately, this angered Kurtz, so he pushed her against the wall and pointed a gun at her head. He warned her to watch her language or she wouldn't get any special treatment in the future. Exist. 6 incarcerated women, including Sabrina and Phoebe, were later escorted out of jail. Emerging from their cells and entering a room, they were tied to chairs. As the guards leave, Phoebe starts talking, claiming she likes fighting and worrying how many more people will she kill. Unlike her, all other women long to escape this hell. Their conversation was quickly interrupted by Joseph and Elizabeth. Joseph told them they had brought 50 women into the facility, but now only 22 remained. Elizabeth then approaches Sabrina and compliments her on her fighting abilities, while Phoebe gained Joseph's favor. According to the couple, the final winner, the champion will be decided in 3 days, was released from the facility. After the meeting, the women are taken back to their cells and Phoebe laughs at them. Sabrina. This provocation causes Sabrina to lose her temper and headbutt Phoebe. However, guards quickly separated them, preventing another brawl. Later, another inmate named Teresa asked Sabrina if she was in the military. When he answered yes, she suggested leaving the facility. Their other ally, Cody, agrees and says all they have to do is kill the guards. However, Sabrina insists it won't be that easy for her and her family members are closely observed. Your little mistake could endanger the life of someone you love. Sabrina was so emotional that she started crying when she revealed she had given up her baby ready for adoption, but now she's under constant surveillance. In the next scene, Cody is tasked with fighting a prisoner named Marissa. The remaining women watch the fight on a small TV screen in their cell. Cody managed to defeat his opponent using a chokeslam technique. Sabrina is then forced into a series of death matches against two women named Gloria Alex, but she managed to win both games. Still, she was so exhausted that she lay unconscious on the floor. Soon after, some guards entered the fighting room and took her away. Now all these live games are broadcast to rich people on Big TV's screen. Teresa is taken to the next match where her opponent is Rachel. After the battle begins, they attack each other, but Teresa ultimately succeeds, knock them down. Frustrated, Rachel tearfully begged Teresa to convey the news to her husband. She loves him very much. Teresa nodded, then strangled Rachel to death. During the ensuing fight, two women, Anne and Brenda, were ordered out of their cells. Anne cooperates, but Brenda suffers a nervous breakdown and refuses to fight. When the guards were unable to dispatch them, Kurtz informed Elizabeth, who then walked inside facilities to handle this situation. As she approaches Brenda, she reminds her that this is the only way to save her mother, cooperate and agree to fight. Brenda angrily headbutts Elizabeth, causing her nose to bleed. This angered Elizabeth, who thought Brenda was beyond help, and shot her down. She then commented on the need to find a replacement, as if this was routine. Elsewhere, Sabrina wakes up and finds herself tied to a table. Somehow she managed to break free, but before she could reach another table filled with knives, she was arrested by security. When Sabrina returns to her cell, she tries to call her allies Teresa and Cody, but gets no response. There is no answer. Unfortunately, she soon learned that the two were fighting. In the fight room, neither Cody nor Teresa are willing to fight each other. Teresa wonders what would happen if they just refused to fight. In response, Cody explained that such resistance would lead to the death of both of them and their loved ones. Teresa then asked about Cody's mother, but she reluctantly hid her instead of answering. However, Teresa did not respond, and instead told her about her husband, who was sick and in intensive care. She said it might be a blessing if he died. Teresa knew how much Cody needed her mother and let her win the battle. They pretend to fight, and Teresa puts Cody's hand on her throat and encourages her to do it, press firmly. She then intentionally fell to the ground and allowed Cody to strangle her. After the fight, Cody got off Teresa's body and burst into tears. Unfortunately, she didn't get much rest as Phoebe was immediately taken into the house battle room to fight them. Along the way, Phoebe taunts Sabrina, saying she will destroy their alliance. Sabrina warns her to stay away from Cody, but Phoebe rejects her and moves on. Their road roared. Once inside the fight room, Phoebe continues to taunt and make provocative comments. Her father's attack triggered trauma in Cody. This angered Cody and he punched him. However, Phoebe easily gained the upper hand and brutally beat her. She ended up mercilessly slamming Cody's head into a wall, ending Cody's life. After this incident, Phoebe reiterated her desire to confront Sabrina. Back in the cell, Sabrina also expresses her desire to confront Phoebe and approaches Kurt's request permission to perform this action. In response, Kurtz arrogantly said that because of them, she could fight as much as she wanted, killing her daughter no matter what. He then returns to the control room and opens Sabrina's cell door. So she ran to the battle room, where Phoebe was waiting for her. She immediately attacks Phoebe, channeling her anger into confrontation. Sabrina throws a few punches and pushes Phoebe into the flood. But the situation continues laugh. This only fueled Sabrina's anger, causing her to punch harder. Happened, and she was eventually executed. Later, Phoebe's body is taken away, but Sabrina is ordered to stay in the fight, Chime, as she still has another opponent to fight. Will have a new replacement named Isabella Thomas. According to Joseph, this was the first time that the final battle took place against a new guy. He went on to say that Isabel was a former college athlete who received a full scholarship. She runs a gym with her husband and also trains in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Joseph announced that the survivor of the battle would be declared the ultimate champion. Soon after, when Isabel enters the battle room, Sabrina asks her if she knows why she was brought here. Isabel replies no, prompting Sabrina to explain what that means. Rejection or failure will result in the death of their loved ones. As expected, Isabel doesn't believe any of this, so Sabrina starts the fight one strike. In retaliation, Isabel threw her to the ground and managed to subdue her fighting skills. At one point, Isabel puts her hands on Sabrina's neck, and then Sabrina asks her to do the same. Do it. Isabel then breaks Sabrina's neck, causing her to fall to the ground. The battle ends and Isabel is declared the winner. The guards carried Sabrina's body and took her to the morgue. Soon after, Joseph and Elizabeth entered the facility to meet the winner. Before doing so, they thanked Kurtz for his service and invited him to join them. Celebrate with the rich right in front of the building. At the morgue, when an employee tried to tend to Sabrina's body, she yelled, "Woke up unexpectedly," and stabbed him with a knife. It's revealed that Sabrina orchestrated her death and is now determined to escape facility. Moments later, another employee enters the morgue and Sabrina slits his throat also. She then carefully leaves the room and begins killing the guards one by one. She finally breaks into the room where Joseph and Elizabeth are talking to Isabel. Sabrina immediately attacks the couple and then attempts to free Isabel. During the commotion, Elizabeth grabbed a stick and struck Isabel, causing her death. In retaliation, Sabrina fights Elizabeth and throws her out of the window, causing she fell to her death. Joseph was shocked and immediately grabbed Sabrina by the throat and suffocated her to death. Die. However, she managed to grab a sharp stick from the ground and stab it through his neck and killed him. Meanwhile, Kurtz makes a disturbing discovery at the party. This prompts him to return to the facility and meet Sabrina in the elevator door. Before he could draw his gun, Sabrina hit him with it and killed him. Use a knife. She then walked into the ballroom, leaving well-heeled attendees stunned. She continued toward the door, finally out into the sunlight. From there, she ran across a wooden bridge to freedom. Unfortunately, her escape was hampered when she was shot from behind by a security guard who was, "It's Adam," the same guy from the first scene. It turns out he was a recruiter who found the women and brought them into the facility. At the end of the film, Sabrina saw the last scene of her daughter before she died. To their wounds. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment on this Chanel. I hope you enjoy the storyline of the film that we bring. Thank you.